Ooh, wow. Episode 6. But why does it feel like it's like episode 40? Well, it's because I'm suffering from a slight little case of burnout, but it's a welcome burnout. So I'm not going to make this a podcast that's about negative things, because that's not really what this is about. As you know, I've been using this as my sort of vlog, and it's a quick way for me to get down my thoughts. And can I just ask you a small little favor? Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, share the video, put it anywhere you want to help me spread the word, because I don't know why. I think I've been told I need to. No, I'm kidding. I would like a sort of community, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell, tell people about it, and let's go. So in the last podcast, I talked about the old school way of promoting a band and how I did it in the early to late 80s, and, how you grew a fan base and how different it was. And this podcast is going to be about an issue that I see that comes up quite a bit. And it's a very heavy debate. I have friends who are artists who are vehemently on one side of the debate. And then I have friends and family and artists who are completely on the other side. And I do understand both sides. And what I'm talking about is Spotify and the way that artists are paid for streaming music. On the one side, you have people who say Spotify doesn't pay enough. They don't pay the artists enough money for what they're doing, and that streaming is a scam because musicians aren't making any money, and the music is free, people are listening all day long, and you're not getting paid for it. And it's a very valid point. On the other hand, you have me, where I totally call bullshit on the whole thing, and I don't work for Spotify. I just understand the world as it is, because this is where the differences between these arguments can be settled. You have to think of it in terms of, do we live in the world that was, or do we live in the world that is? And the reality is, we live in a world where people don't need to go out and buy your CD. I'm sorry, they don't need to. Stop forcing it down their throats. Stop putting up all your posts that say, buy my CD, because I spent $1,000 making it. Buy my CD, buy my CD. Look, man, they don't want to buy it. It's that simple. They love you. They go to Spotify, they find you, and they hit play, and they listen to your wonderful song. They leave you comments on your videos, and that's about it. They're listening, but they're not buying. Okay? So let's get that reality out of the way. It is a fact. We can't fight it anymore. And the funny thing is, I'm not even mad about it. I know some of you are going, fuck you, Claude, what the fuck? Sorry. I'm not mad about it. In fact, I think about it in a completely different way, which is why I am who I am. I think about things out of the box. No pun intended. Or maybe there was a pun intended there. I don't know. Maybe. No, but seriously, the debate is always that because now music is free and people are listening, that Spotify should pay you more because it's free. Okay, I kind of see that point, but that's sort of missing the point. So, like I did last time in my episode, I'm going to take you back to the world as it was before Spotify. Okay? And that's a plane going over, so I can't edit that out. The world as it was before Spotify was really simple. No one knew you, so no one would buy your stuff. It's that simple. No one knows you, no one buys anything. Okay? So you could scream at the world 20 years ago that you had an album out, but if nobody knew who you were and you weren't playing shows and you were not on the radio, you were not getting people to buy stuff. People only bought stuff when they went to your shows, or if they heard your song on the radio 15 times a day, they went out and hopefully bought your record. That's the world as it was. The ancient world. the Greek-Roman world, okay? For as far as this discussion goes, that's what you're going to call it, because that's what it is. That was the world. And I remember this world because I was part of it. When I did a new song, I would have to beg a radio station to play it. My agent or my manager or whoever was on my team would call the radio station and ask them, hey, what do you think of this single? If they said, sorry, man, not for our station, that was the end of it. Doesn't matter how much the fans might have liked the song. It just wouldn't get played. That's just a fact, guys. I'll give you an example. I remember we sent the song A World Without Love from our second record. We sent it to a station in Houston. They immediately played it. It jumped up the charts. It literally grew our fan base in the Texas region because the song went up the charts. Here in Los Angeles, we couldn't get a single radio station to play it. Synth pop wasn't in. They were playing rave music. They were playing grunge. So there was nothing that was going to happen to make people in Los Angeles listen to us on the radio. Okay? That's true. Now, I'm going to go back to the Texas region and explain something about that. Let's say that the song in question gets on the top 10. Do you think that I get paid a lot of money for the song being on the radio? It's 0.95% of a 1% of a cent. So it takes about 276 some odd plays to, I think, make... We can debate this, but I can look at my notes, but I really feel lazy right now and I want to get up. It's the day before my birthday. I'm sitting in bed, literally, doing this podcast, and I'm not going to be bothered because I'm not trying to be an expert here. I'm just trying to give you my opinion. You could actually look this up, but I believe it's 0.95% of 1 cent. And that's, by the way, paid to the writer, not the band. That means if you were Depeche Mode and you're David Gahan, you didn't get shit. Do you understand that? That there's a disparity there. And if your song went to number 1 and it was played 15 to 20 times a day, and the station was a P1 station, which meant 1 million listeners or more. So I want you to think about what that means. 1 million listeners or more. That doesn't mean that you got paid for the 1 million listeners that were listening to the song at that moment. You only got paid for the play. So if they played your song 15 times, it obviously got listened to by 15 million people, but you did not get paid for that. So for a quick moment, we're going to time travel. Now we're in the modern world. In the modern world, radio is still not paying you for the 15 million listeners that it has on it. Okay? They are not paying you for that. They're paying you for a play. So that means that if you send a song into a radio station today and they decide to play it 15 times a day for a month, you're going to get paid for those plays, but you're not going to get paid for the millions of people who listen to it. Okay? You following me so far? So, I want you to start thinking about what Spotify actually is. Spotify is a radio station that reaches millions of people across the world who pays you per person that is streaming. Not for the amount of... It's a little different formula, but the reality is, if you get your song on Spotify and you push it, and your fans love it, and it grows, and worldwide suddenly you're getting millions of plays, you're actually going to make money from it. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have. It's that simple. And you would be lucky if you got on one P1 station. Quote, million listeners. So, Spotify is a P1, P2, P3. That's how I think of it. And I'm a nice guy. I'm a quiet guy, normally. But this stuff really burns me up, and it's a very heated subject because I hate seeing artists saying stuff like, I'm never going to record an album because if I put it on Spotify, it's going to get streamed and it's going to be free and I'm never going to get paid for it. Well, fuck. You know, I'm sorry. It doesn't work for me. That excuse does not work because 20 odd years ago, I would have killed for 10 people to listen to my music. I would have pushed a tape or a CD and put it in their hands and say, take this home and listen to it. You don't have to give me money for it, just listen to it. And I would have been happy. Now suddenly I can't be happy unless they're listening and giving me money? Now, let me back up because I hear a lot of screaming, even though I haven't posted this video yet. I know that somebody just threw something against... Oh. That's all the stuff that people just threw at the screen. Thank God you can't see me. Oh, I'm a mess. Let me wipe that egg off my face. Okay. Yes, I can be funny sometimes. I want you to think about something. I'm not saying that you shouldn't make money making music. Shit, if that were the case, then I'd be dead broke and I would never do a show again. I would never release an album again. I'm not saying that music should be free or every aspect of our career should be free. I'm not. What I'm saying is, don't ask for the money to come from a specific source that's already doing its job for you to help you. So if you're screaming that they should be paying more, okay, I can agree. Maybe they should be. But as it is right now, they pay you about $6,000 for every million plays. That's what you can look forward to. So either it's working and you're making the money or you're not. So you can't get mad that if you don't get a million plays, you're not making any money. Be happy. Be happy that, let's say, you put a song out on Spotify and 20,000 people are listening to it on a daily basis. Be happy. People are listening to you. Shit. If you recorded a song today, recorded it and mixed it, put it on DistroKid, and then suddenly by midnight it's already on Spotify, and the next day you've got 300 people listening to you, do you know how amazing that is? We didn't have that 30 years ago. We didn't even have that 20 years ago. Well, kinda, if you count YouTube and all that. But in this case, you have an opportunity because you can always run an ad. You can use that money that you're spending on stupid shit, and I mean it, stupid shit. You're collecting Star Wars figurines while you're doing your music? Fuck that. Quit doing that shit. Put some money into your music. Run some ads on Facebook for pennies on the dollar to promote your music. Because that's what would happen if you were on a record label. They would market you. So you need to market you. So that's what you put your money into. It really is simple. So put some money into advertising, number one, for yourself. And I don't mean cheesy advertising. It could be advertising for the simple idea that you've got your music on Spotify and you just want people to listen to it. Guess what? If you put an ad out that reaches 1,000 people a day for about $1 and they all decide to play your song, that makes you money on Spotify. That's a bonus. And if some of those fans are really diehards and they become diehards where they want to buy your disc, that's great. You'll sell some music too. But don't get mad at Spotify for being the best and biggest radio station in the world. And for that matter, YouTube actually pays less than Spotify, and they're even more free, if you know what I mean. Because if you put a lyric video together and you put it on YouTube, it too can get 1 million views. And you're not going to make that much money from it. So I was watching a video today that basically said, come up with a 5-word plan for your future. So I'm going to pass that on. I heard that from Damian Keyes this morning, and I thought it was really brilliant. He said, come up with 5 words that you want to define your career by. And I thought, that is really hard. It's difficult. How could I even think about that? Especially me. So to give you an idea, I'm a visual artist and I'm a musician. I do both. And I want to do both equally well. And the two things are so hard to do already by themselves. If you're a painter, you have to go after galleries, you have to sell your work, you have to sell prints. There's a lot of things you need to do. If you're a musician, you have to get airplay, you have to get, grow your fan base, care for your fan base, which I really do, by the way. I really do care about my fan base. They're the best. So I do care for them and I do everything that I can for them. And I mean that, everything. And I get this all the time from my team, which is like, how are you going to do both? I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard. It's difficult. But I know this is what I want. So as I was watching that video, my 5-word thing was, I want to be famous, multi-artist, I don't know, music, art, forever, make money. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't say it in 5 words yet, but I know what I want. I know that I want to make music for the rest of my life, perform it, make art, put it on walls. No, scratch that. I just want to make art books. Something like that. Anyway, see? Do you see what I mean by it's difficult? It's not easy. It's not easy for me, and I've been doing it for 35 years. So I can't imagine that it's going to be an easy thing for you to do, but it has to be done. You need to think about what it is you want to achieve with your art. That should be first. 2 is to actually do your art. If you paint, paint. If you make music, get in the studio every day and write. The following excuses: Spotify doesn't pay me enough money, it's the worst time in music, people will steal my shit, I don't know what's going to happen in 2 years with all this social media stuff, what if it goes away and I don't have a career? Those are just excuses for not going to the studio, not sitting down with your instrument, not writing a song, not painting a picture, not drawing, not taking your acting classes, not writing your poetry, not going to an open mic night and, spitting some new knowledge to people. This is nothing more than an excuse. If I was managing a band, I would not accept any excuses from them. And thank God I don't manage a band, because I think I'd go crazy managing a band, because I go crazy managing my own band. And I'm probably the worst artist to manage in the entire world, because I am crazy. I'm nuts. But I digress. So anyway, I don't know how long I've been talking, but I'm going to go back to the Spotify thing I'm going to go back to the Spotify thing for a moment. Just one more moment. I'm going to recap that little argument again, just because I think I was a little over the top. I want you to think of Spotify, if you're an artist and you're a musician, okay? I don't want you to think of Spotify as a store. It is not. iTunes is a store. Google Play is a store. Amazon Music is a store. I know that there are also streaming services built in within those platforms, but there are stores, meaning someone can buy your album and download it and, have it forever on their phone or whatever their device is. Which, by the way, is another thing. Just a little sidetrack here. I don't make CDs anymore because I know that Amazon lets you burn your own. And I would prefer to sell, for example, if someone wants a really high-end version of whatever I record, which is basically a 24-bit file that comes right out of my computer, is exactly what I hear in my studio, I can put that on Bandcamp. And for example, then when you download it, it sounds like what it sounded like in my studio. Even CDs don't do that. Even vinyl doesn't, tape does, nothing does, sorry. Whatever it sounded like in my studio with my system, I could translate into a 24-bit file, and then you could have it, and that would be it. Okay, so anyway, think of those services as the stores. Okay? You may not make much on the sales, but get on all of them. So if you're on a service like, let's say, CD Baby or DistroKid or one of those guys, they'll get you into all those stores. So someone in Japan or Korea can actually listen to your stuff on iTunes in Korea, buy it, download it, and they could be a silent fan. They could love you and be spreading the word, but you don't even know it. And I think that's awesome too. And you're going to make money from it. So there are ways to monetize. Your kid sister's a great designer. Have her make shirts. Sell shirts at your concerts. Because yeah, you have to play. You can't assume that you're going to keep your day job, office job, and that you're going to magically grow 1 million fans who are just going to send you money, and that you're rich, and then someday you're going to quit your job and buy yourself a mansion with this $1 million that you made. It doesn't work that way. It takes hard work. I get up every morning at 6:20, well, more recently 7:20 since I've been back from a tour where I actually didn't get much sleep. But I digress again. My point is, I get up really early in the morning and I go to work. That studio is on. I'm going to try to write something. Or I'm pulling out paper. I'm going to make marks. Even if I don't want to. Because the way I look at it, inspiration will strike, but only when you're working. So think of those places. I'm going to say it again. iTunes, Google Play, all those different digital scenarios as your stores. And Spotify and YouTube as your MTV that you control, because you do control it, and Spotify as the radio station you control. What do I mean by that? Okay, Spotify. Really simple. I love old 1970s new wave. So that means I can make a playlist of my favorite songs, the things that I've always loved and I want to listen to all day long. Throw some Anything Box songs in there, throw some Diary songs in there, and share it with everyone. And I do. That's me being the radio jock now. And guess what? When all the fans listen to it, yes, it makes me a little bit of money. Nothing wrong with that, guys. So you can get paid to share your favorite music and some of your music with your friends, family, fans. Can you do that with a regular terrestrial radio station? No, you cannot. So stop dissing on Spotify and drinking the Kool-Aid that the major labels want you to drink. Because let me tell you, there is a conspiracy. I really believe it. And I'm going to tell you what it is. And I'll probably be the only one that sounds like a fucking madman saying it. But I'll tell you what the conspiracy is. The major labels would love it if we went back to a world where there was nothing but vinyl. Do you know why? Because you're willing to pay $25 for it. They don't have to pay the artist for it. And they get to keep all the money. They get to keep the old world that they'd created. And I say, no. I say more user-generated radio stations. I say more do-it-yourselfers streaming from their homes. I say more playing live in front of a camera on YouTube. More user-generated content. That's where the world is going, whether you like it or not. And so this is the other side of this. Think about what I'm saying. This is the world as it is. Okay? You can decide you want to change it. That's fine. I completely agree with you that maybe there are parts of it that I don't like. So go ahead and change it. Helicopter overhead. See, that's the major labels right now. They're looking for me. Don't tell them that. That's what's happening right now. I'm kidding. I know that the world might not be the way that you thought it would be as a musician or an artist. So that's fine. You have the right to want to change it. Go forth and change it. However, that said, you still have to play, you still have to perform, you still have to write songs, and you still have to live in the current world that has not changed in your favor. Which means you need to operate in the parameters of that world to change it. There's one of you out there, I don't know who it is, might be you, that will one day change the entire paradigm of the music industry with some weird app or some new thing that suddenly makes music the coolest thing in the world again. Because right now it's not. When I look at, people in my world, I have a friend of mine named James who made a video game that is unbelievable called Jupiter and Mars. If you haven't seen that, it's amazing. And he made this video game where it's so immersive and you play and you're literally a dolphin, like in this Tron-like ocean. It's an amazing video game. So, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because guess what, man? Video games are more popular than music these days. Don't believe me? Go ask a kid and they're going to tell you that they listen to music on Fortnite while they're playing it more than they're going to put on your fucking disc. That's the world. You can't change it. You can't go to every little kid and say, don't play Fortnite. You can't do that. You have to accept that this is the world. What you can do is embrace that world and take what you can from it while it's here. Because it will evolve into something else. Like, for example, I bet you never thought of it, but Google what the inside of a server building looks like for YouTube. It's amazing to see how much fucking storage it takes to hold all the videos that we are uploading on a daily basis. And they don't know where to store them anymore. Imagine that tomorrow YouTube says, you know what? Sorry guys, we can't do free videos anymore. If you have to upload, it's going to cost you $25. Sorry, nothing we can do. We got to monetize. Okay, they might go under, but what if they do? Are you ready for that? And if there's no YouTube replacement that's actually as good as YouTube is, what then? What do you do? Let's say Spotify goes away tomorrow and I lose my 180,000, streams. What then? There's my radio station. Gone. Went out of business. This is why it's important to be in the world that you're in and operate in it. And I'm going to tell you that advertisement on the major ones, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I'm not even going to say Spotify because I actually think that one's kind of expensive. But some of those platforms, they're at the lowest that they've ever been. So for a musician marketing their own material, it's the best time in the world to be where you are. Okay? So the world as it is, I'm telling you, there has never been a better time than now. Because if you need to record something, you could do it with the smallest little device. You could even record multi-track on your phone these days, okay? You can. You can actually get a USB interface, plug a microphone and a guitar directly to your phone and record. So recording is not an excuse anymore, or having a studio. You could actually record on a phone. Making a video is no longer an excuse. There are now very good cameras on smartphones, and there are very good DSLRs you can buy, even used ones from 3 or 4 years ago, you can buy for about $200. So again, save a few lattes, you know what I mean? Save some money, spend it in the right place, get yourself a $7 tripod, you're making videos. No MTV needed, no VH1, no P1s, no P3s, none of that shit. You don't need it. People want to know what you're thinking. People want to know who you are as a human being. That's the world that we live in. So just be yourself, get your phone out, film, make things. If you're an artist, paint. Show people what you do. If you build it, they will come, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's the day before my birthday. Tomorrow I'm not telling you. I'm just not going to tell you. But I've been around for a long time on this little planet, and I've quite enjoyed it. I plan to be around for a lot longer. And I'm going to focus a lot of time on art and music. That is really my goal. So the topics of these podcasts may change. And like I said, I'm taking you on a journey. That's what I've been doing the whole time. So I may rant on music industry issues. I may rant completely in the different side of the spectrum. There are a couple of topics that I won't cover. I'm not going to get into politics and shit because I don't care. I don't care. Because the way I look at it, no matter who gets elected or who is in office, they all spill the same goo. I don't believe any of them. That's just the anarchist punk rocker in me. I don't believe in it. All of it. The whole system, as far as I'm concerned, can go down. Okay? It's going down. If you think about how all this other stuff around us, it's just a sign that the whole system is down. So whatever the new thing is, I welcome it. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting world. What I do want to end this on is be good to one another, regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on with regards to being an artist or being on YouTube versus being on a major label, Democrat versus Republican, white, black, gray, purple, red, green, gay, not gay, in between gay. It doesn't matter. Just be yourself. Celebrate the differences between you and everyone else, and the world is such a better place. Anyway, that's all from me. Peace out. I hope that you will hit that little subscribe button and the bell. It really does help. And really comment. Tell me what you think about this. Debate me. Tell me off. Give me, a thumbs up. Whatever it is you want to say it. Because I really do want to hear what you have to say. And unlike other channels, I'll get into the fray. So your opinion is welcome. I'll see you next time. It'll probably be after my birthday. I love you all. Good night.